Hello and welcome to Pushing Back, Ukraine Daily Brief. As the war enters its 870th day, these are the main developments from the past 24 hours. The update from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Russia has lost approximately 557,770 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of the war. The number, which has not been independently verified, includes 1,120 casualties over the past day. According to the released Ukrainian figures, Russia lost 8 tanks, 24 armored combat vehicles, 58 artillery systems, 1 air defense system, 34 drones, 52 vehicles, and 13 pieces of special equipment. The Russians launched 136 combat clashes and carried out 45 airstrikes, including 58 anti-aircraft missiles on the territory of Ukraine. They also used 429 kamikaze drones and carried out 3,408 attacks on the positions of Ukrainian troops and settlements using various types of weapons. In its latest intelligence update, the Institute for the Study of War, Western and U.S. officials reportedly assess that Ukrainian forces will continue to be on the defensive for the next 6 months and will not be able to conduct a large-scale counter-offensive operation until 2025. Ukrainian forces are already attempting to contest the tactical initiative in limited counterattacks in select sectors of the front, however, and Ukrainian forces may be able to conduct limited counter-offensive operations even while largely on the defensive depending on the arrival of Western aid. The Kremlin continues to signal its unwillingness to participate in peace negotiations that do not result in complete Ukrainian and Western capitulation to the Kremlin's demands amid ongoing Ukrainian efforts to form an international consensus for future negotiations. Russian Defense Minister Andrei Belousov used a phone call with U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin on July 12, his second in 3 weeks, to reiterate standard Russian threats intended to coerce the U.S. out of supporting Ukraine as part of an ongoing reflexive control campaign targeting Western decision-makers. The United Kingdom government has reportedly not permitted Ukraine to use UK-supplied Storm Shadow missiles to strike military targets within Russia, despite previous Western reporting and UK official statements to the contrary. The U.S. Department of Defense announced on July 11 a military aid package for Ukraine worth $225 million. Indian state-run oil refineries are reportedly negotiating an oil import deal with Russia, likely as a result of the recent meetings between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin and improving Russo-Indian energy relations in recent months. The Kremlin continues to intensify efforts to encourage self-censorship among information space voices and consolidate physical control over internet infrastructure. Russian infantry units are reportedly assaulting Ukrainian trench positions in single-file columns due to pervasive Ukrainian minefields and poor assault training. Russian President Vladimir Putin met with Zaporizhia Oblast Occupation Administration head Yevgeny Belitsky on July 12 and discussed social and infrastructure projects in occupied Zaporizhia Oblast. Russian forces recently made confirmed advances near Avdiivka and in the Donetsk-Zaporizhia Oblast border area. In Washington, Zelensky met with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. Zelensky thanked Meloni for prioritizing Ukraine's defense and reconstruction during Italy's G7 presidency. They discussed the situation on the front lines, Russian attacks on Ukrainian cities, including the Okhmatdyt Children's Hospital, and Ukraine's primary needs, particularly in air defense. They also reviewed the first peace summit's results and preparations for the second summit and the Ukraine Recovery Conference in Italy in 2025. Zelensky highlighted the progress towards Ukraine's NATO membership made at the NATO summit. He awarded Meloni the Order of Freedom for her significant support for Ukraine. The 75th NATO summit in Washington concluded with the endorsement of the Ukraine Compact, a supplement to the G7 joint declaration from the previous NATO summit. 32 participants, including 23 leaders of countries with bilateral security agreements with Ukraine, have joined the compact. U.S. President Biden emphasized continued short-term support for Ukraine's defense and long-term commitments to deter future Russian aggression. Zelensky highlighted ongoing work on Ukraine's security guarantees, which support but do not replace the goal of NATO membership. The compact ensures long-term military assistance, additional air defense systems, and future defense cooperation, elevating Ukraine's relations with supporting countries. It remains open for other nations to join and includes mechanisms for urgent consultations in case of war escalation. During her visit to the United States, First Lady Alina Zelenska visited Salt Lake City, Utah. Alina Zelenska met with the spouses of U.S. governors, emphasizing the critical role of U.S. support for Ukraine's survival against Russia. She highlighted recent Russian attacks on Ukrainian cities, including Kiev and Dnipro, and the Okhmatyt Children's Hospital, which caused significant casualties. Zelenska discussed the Alina Zelenska Foundation's efforts, funded by foreign donors, to build school shelters, housing for foster families, rebuild hospitals, and provide ambulances. She stressed the importance of international meetings in fostering understanding and support for Ukraine. Thanks for following today's updates. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. We'll return tomorrow with the latest news on the ongoing conflict.